Good morning. On behalf of the Community Foundation of NC East, it is my pleasure to welcome you to our press conference. Today is a tremendous event as we announce our HBOT for Veterans program, and knowing that the state of North Carolina has one of the highest populations of veterans in the United States, we have long felt passionate about being the leaders of this life-changing and life-saving treatment. We are currently living with a very sad reality that up to 22 United States veteran suicides are occurring daily. This in itself is the profound reason we have worked diligently to bring us to this long-awaited opportunity that we are about to share with you today. I would like to welcome our dignitaries, including Senator Don Davis to my right. Thank you, Senator, for being with us today. We are also extremely pleased to have remarks in the next few minutes from United States Congressman Greg Murphy, whom is in Washington, D.C. today, but will share in a recorded message to us momentarily. It is also an honor to have two of our veterans, very distinguished veterans and family members with us today, both of whom have been recipients of the HBOT treatment made possible by funding from our foundation in the past 24 months, including Major Simon LeMay and Mr. Greg Green, whom are seated with us today. We are also very pleased to have Mrs. LeMay, Simon's wife, with us today, who is a very important part of this story. Thank you for being here. We thank you for your service to our country, as well as your support and your willingness to be spokespersons for the life-saving effects of HBOT. The Community Foundation of NC East is truly honored to serve as the fiduciary organization to manage and oversee the HBOT therapy program for our veterans in Eastern North Carolina. Over the past 5 years, it has been my privilege to work alongside several incredibly passionate, diligent, and highly informed individuals who have all invested a tremendous amount of time, their effort, and financial resources to bring us to this moment today of opportunity. This opportunity will indeed result in life-saving change for many of our veterans whom we are forever indebted for their service and their sacrifice for this great nation that we call home. I also would say that today and tomorrow and the days to come, we need to all be remembering Ukraine and all that's happening in Ukraine today. Senator, I am reminded that we have Americans, we have veterans in Ukraine. We know the capital city of Ukraine was invaded last night by Russia, and we need to hold them in our prayers every moment of the day. We're extremely grateful that the North Carolina Senate Bill 442 has appropriated funding for hyperbaric oxygen therapy for North Carolina veterans suffering from traumatic brain injury and PTSD. We are honored that the General Assembly, along with our governor, has entrusted those funds to the Community Foundation of NC East, and we will work diligently to get as many of our veterans into this program immediately as we can identify. If you are a family member, friend, acquaintance of a veteran whom you know is suffering from TBI or PTSD as a result of their time in combat, then please do not wait another moment. Reach out to us immediately and let us help provide them with life-saving and life-changing treatment right away. You will be able to visit our website at www.hbotforvets.com, or you can call us at 252-756-8549. Our veterans deserve nothing less than a happy and healthy quality of life in which they can live fully and love their families, whom they have sacrificed so much for. So today we're asking you and everyone across the state of North Carolina to help us make that possible for them. At this time, it is my pleasure to welcome, to my right, Senator Don Davis. The Senator has been instrumental in helping us with this and working with the General Assembly to try to get funding approved and passed, which did happen in late November of last year. We thank you so much for fighting this fight with us, standing up for our veterans, first of all, partnering and entrusting these funds to the Community Foundation as the fiduciary. And today we launched this campaign along with your support and other members of the North Carolina General Assembly so that we can immediately get veterans on board for this funding. So we really thank you for your fight with us on this, and we would love for you to share a few remarks. Thank you, Senator.
Wow. Well, good morning. And I'm going to start with Ukraine. Let us continue to be mindful and prayerful during these times. To our veterans, I'm looking at these veterans here. I'm even looking at a devil dog here, I guess, huh? What a day it is. These gentlemen have been not only recipients of HBOT treatment, but they have been champions and advocates for other veterans to make sure that we understand, Melissa, that 22 veterans who are taking their lives each day, that's 22 too many. When we think about the state of North Carolina, we're working our way upward towards 1 million veterans in this state. When I think about our installations, matter of fact, when we think about Ukraine and those who are deploying right now to serve our country, we must, absolutely must, not just send veterans into foreign lands, but when they return, we must first always say thank you. And there's an important lesson we learned a long time ago. We must first say thank you. And secondly, help provide resources they need in order to cope and truly return and come truly back home. When we think about that 22 per day, those challenged with just trying to cope and get back into a routine and just can't somehow seem to do it, and to think of someone who've worn a dog tag, that's a true hero, and to come back in a state of hopelessness. This is what we know about HBOT. And I want to start with Jim. Jim is a Marine, forgive him, because he set on a mission, it was maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, it seemed a while ago. Well, I'm talking about with us on the General Assembly part. And Jim, I remember, came to the office, and Representative Murphy at the time, North Carolina Representative Murphy, I know Jim had reached out to Representative Murphy, reached out to me, and was really trying to go ahead and get legislation moving at that particular point in time. It was kind of late in the game, if you remember, Jim, and said, well, let's take the time, do all the research we need, and begin to get things in place. So the subsequent session, Representative Murphy, we filed a bill in the House and one in the Senate. Representative Murphy went ahead and moved forward with his bill, and it came over, passed the House, came over to the Senate, and we supported that bill. Believe it or not, it's joint operations going on, and we supported in the Senate, and we recognize HBOT treatment as a state, and that was huge. And I want to say thank you to Jim for your tenacity and just sticking to it. And I can truly report that you are a fine Marine to not let up on the task at hand, the mission at hand. But it didn't stop there, and this is one thing you know about Jim, y'all. There's always another plan that's already behind, and I know there's already one. We're going to come back and talk about that hopefully in another year or two. But he had reached out to me, and we continued the conversation and said not only is it important to recognize HBOT in this state, but we need to try to move forward to see how we can truly help provide this treatment to other veterans. And I just want to be clear so everyone will know what we understand with HBOT. And see, we tag team Representative Murphy and I at the time he was the doctor, I was the veteran really pushing. So he would talk about the medical parts of this. So I'm not sure if he's going to get into it in the video, so I'm going to do the best I can. What we understand is when you expose a veteran, in this case, to pure oxygen, and I've actually been up and been in the chamber myself, and you expose the body to pure oxygen, the cells begin a natural regeneration process, and there's this kind of natural healing that begins to occur. And we have gotten just amazing results, what we understand with PTSD, with traumatic brain injuries, and actually other medical issues of concern. So this treatment, we believe, has gotten great results. And what we're really trying to do now, and which was kind of the second part of this, is put our money where our mouths are. And that is, let's now expand it out, bring more veterans in, and ensure that we are indeed getting accurate results. In other words, really looking at reliability and so forth. And there is another game plan behind this. And we were talking to Melissa earlier. I know there's been conversations with the speaker. We'll continue to have conversations with the President Pro Tem, because with the success of this, we want to continue to expand it out and help more and more veterans. And the partnership here. When I think about the Community Foundation of North Carolina East, just a willing partner, and they got it, y'all. And that is, we have to do things to make a real difference, especially in Eastern North Carolina, beyond, and especially when it comes to our veterans. And I remember meeting with the foundation, and all of us, all the partners came together to try to come up with this plan and this strategy. And I just want to personally thank the foundation because this shows the best of who we are in terms of being able to truly partner to do truly what I think is needed to say thank you to our veterans and to provide them the support they need. And not the veteran, just the veteran, but also their family members. So to our veterans, you're representing all the veterans in this state today. Your time spent is a living testimony of what we can do. And there were so many things that we tackled in this budget, but I can say today, I really believe that this is one of the greatest things that came out of the budget. Because, again, I would say this. When we look at our treasurer, that will tell a lot about the heart. Think about that. Think about that. So, thank you so much. And I'd see even a family member, a spouse. Thank you for your service to our country. Thank you for being an advocate and a voice to all veterans. Thank you for getting it. And this is just an amazing day, an amazing time. And it shows the best of our state. We owe this, everyone. We owe this to our veterans and their families. So thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Senator. I've said many times as we've been working on this for over 5 years that as a nation and as a city and as a community, we're no better than being able to take care of those who fight for our freedom and fight for our nation every day. So we've taken this very seriously from day one. Suicide levels are at historic highs in the United States. As we all stand here today, there's never been more suicides than there are right now amongst our veterans. And we have to get to a point where we're doing better and we're doing all we can to provide them with the care and the treatment when they return home so that they can be the best that they can be for themselves and for our families. I think at this time we have a very important message that we would like to share from Congressman Greg Murphy. The Congressman is in Washington, D.C. today, but has recorded a very special message that he would like to share with the state and with all of you here today. With remarks about HBOT, we appreciate the Congressman's involvement. He's worked passionately, as Senator Davis has spoken of, with us on this, and he's been a wonderful advocate for our veterans, especially as a physician understanding the meaning of TBI and PTSD. So we look forward to his comments now from Congressman Greg Murphy.
Hello, I'm Congressman and Dr. Greg Murphy. I'm honored today to be able to speak to you about hyperbaric oxygen therapy, something called HBOT, as well as its effectiveness on those who suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, also called PTSD, as well as traumatic brain injury, and also called TBI. I've worked on these issues both during my time in the North Carolina General Assembly and now in the U.S. House of Representatives. You know, although the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan are over, their impacts are still felt every day by thousands of Americans who suffer from PTSD and TBI. In fact, a 2015 study showed that as many as 500,000 veterans who fought in Iraq and Afghanistan were diagnosed with PTSD. More recent reports have indicated that as many as 850,000 of those veterans returned since 2001 with PTSD or TBI injuries. Although these brave service members survived the terror of battle, all too often they don't survive the torment of their own thoughts at home and tragically take their own lives. Even those veterans who don't fall victim to their own thoughts, many still cope with reliving their horrifying experiences abroad. This oftentimes has a tremendously negative effect on their relationship with loved ones as well as family members. Unfortunately, we're faced with a regrettable reality. Today, there is not really a cure for PTSD or TBI. Many veterans are treated successfully with medication or other behavioral therapies, but unfortunately, it does not help everyone. As a physician, I have found that hyperbaric oxygen therapy can be a very helpful treatment for some people who suffer from PTSD and TBI when nothing else has helped them and they had nowhere else to turn. Hyperbaric oxygen is conducted by placing a patient in a pressurized room and pushing pure oxygen in a pressurized area. By delivering more oxygen to an individual's lungs, their blood can carry more oxygen to help heal cells in their body, including their brain. I've used hyperbaric oxygen successfully for over 30 years in my surgical practice to heal infected areas and non-healing wounds in the body. And although more research needs to be done to determine how effective hyperbaric oxygen is in combating PTSD and TBI, many who have used this treatment have found it to be successful and many lives have been saved. PTSD and TBI are very individual conditions, as different treatments vary for different people. And although hyperbaric oxygen may not be a treatment that helps patient A, it may be a life-saving one for patient B. Our veterans who have valiantly served our country and sacrificed so much deserve every remedy available to them to reduce the mental scarring that can be caused by combat. Every veteran who suffers PTSD or TBI should be afforded every opportunity to have hyperbaric oxygen therapy if the other treatments do not work. While serving in the North Carolina State House, I sponsored and passed legislation providing hyperbaric oxygen therapy for many veterans in North Carolina. Now, as I serve the 3rd District of North Carolina, which is home to the 6th most veterans in the country, I have introduced H.R. 1014, the Veterans National Traumatic Brain Injury Treatment Act. This legislation is bipartisan, and I've worked with Senator Tuberville in the Senate to help granting access for our veterans to hyperbaric oxygen therapy. He has submitted similar legislation in the Senate. This bill is endorsed by the Fleet Reserve Association as well as the Military Veterans Advocacy Incorporated group. So far, thousands of veterans have received hyperbaric oxygen treatment and seen significant progress in improving their daily lives. As North Carolina is home to so many military bases and so many in our state, it is essential that providing the necessary resources to our veterans who have sacrificed so much for our freedom. We cannot leave any stone unturned to help repay our veterans for keeping us free. May God bless our veterans, and we thank you all for your service.
And we certainly appreciate and reiterate how thankful we are for Congressman Murphy and him being so proactive for our veterans. Also would just like to share as we prepare to close that our Speaker of the House, Tim Moore, has asked me to also convey that he is 100% in support of this. As the Senator mentioned, I had an opportunity to be with him over the weekend, and due to travel around the state, he was unable to be in the eastern part of North Carolina today, but he is 100% in support of this. We thank him and the General Assembly for entrusting these funds to us. Today's story is about the veterans. It is about these gentlemen around the table today and the many, many more in the state of North Carolina that are desperately in need and deserving of this treatment. So as we wrap up this press conference today, we officially launch a campaign in which we're asking family members, anyone who is acquainted with veterans that they know is suffering from PTSD and traumatic brain injury, to please reach out to us. We're going to make every effort to include as many of these veterans as we can. This is going to be very successful for our veterans and their families with a successful outcome. And then we intend to go back to the Senator and others in the General Assembly in the future so that we can report back to them the wonderful things we've been able to do with these resources. As we close today, I just very importantly want to say and extend a special thank you to this gentleman to my left, who Senator Davis referred to him with many titles, but I'm referring to him first and foremost as a veteran and a patriot of this country. Mr. Jim Hooker approached me as the CEO of the Community Foundation of NC East for 23 years. We became friends first and foremost about 6 years ago. He immediately wanted to know if he could come and sit down with me in this boardroom of the foundation and talk to me about his passion for HBOT and for veterans, and to look at how we could come together and partner to change lives and save lives. And we have worked tirelessly over the last 6 years across the state of North Carolina to get to where we are today. But Jim, this really would not have been possible without your time, your financial resources, and the tenacity, as Senator Davis was referring to. I think you and I, we share some of those traits. We have those in common. So you put us together, we made a pretty nice team. So we appreciate all of the media being here today. Thank you for your time. We will have some time available out front for interviews with our veterans. If you would like to have some statements from them, I encourage you to do that, because none of us can stand here and convey what they can convey to you about the significance of HBOT and how life-saving and life-changing this really has been for the two of them, but for many others. So we look forward to really good things coming as a result of today, and thank you for your participation in being here. Thank you, Senator. Thank you to our veterans. Thank you, Mr. Mike Weeks, as our media director. Thank you to Mr. Walter Bolden, one of our Board of Trustees for the Community Foundation of NC East. And thank you to Charlene Silver, our Donor Services Manager, who is an important part of this team and this effort as well. Thank you so much.